Now we wait. Keep waiting. One day it's gonna start. I honestly never know at what point, because it says 3 seconds, so clearly started 3 seconds ago. But now we're live. Hey guys, and welcome to today's stream. We're finally back with another Ace Attorney. Took only, how long has it been? A month? Even longer?
That was not our fault.
We moved.
It's your
You
fault.
had family in town.
It's your fault. It's your fault. They were moving. That's actually the only reason why we took this long to start Ace Attorney. I should probably have chat visible. Okay, perfect. We're ready. I guess I can just pop you back in.
There we go.
Anyway, we'll head into it. Last time we finished the first case of the second game, the tutorial case.
Yep.
Now we're heading into the second case.
What the heck is this? I've never seen it like this.
Of the clouded cocoa.
It means
It was a
heart
ghastly
in
tale
Japanese.
of a winter's night.
Ooh.
One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road.
Why are they always getting stabbed?
As the victim lay at death's
Where else
door,
did you stab
the
someone?
mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death,
Wait, is
the
this-
condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal
No,
gas.
this is definitely the second game.
No, but this happened the first.
Yet,
This did?
though the great
No,
detective
I
had
don't
at
know.
once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
I don't know, I was talking about like an Eastern Exchange student, like apartment. Just reminded me, gave me flashbacks of the second case of the first game. Oh, we're back to Ryunosuke. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm just a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of the world-famous detective. Oh shoot, I forgot my
Whoa,
hat.
it's animated.
Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I have a business now. I successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Telling me I've just been unemployed for the past 4 months.
Yep. You just haven't been working.
Mmm, what a delicious smell wafting up the stairs.
You're neat.
It must... What? Oh, yeah, I'm a
Not
neat.
employed in education.
Not employed, in educated, or in training. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate.
Is that me?
I don't know. You can push it on the mat if you want.
Oh, heck no.
It's okay. Ah, Runo, good.
Yeah,
I
was
was
it?
just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Yeah, it was definitely you before.
Okay.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it.
Oh my god.
Ah, yes, how I missed this character. The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has. And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember? By you?
Hurley pulled your button off?
Oh, whoa. What's going on
Wait a
here?
second. Yeah, wait.
Woke attorney,
yes.
woke attorney.
I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not?
The incident.
He grew lonely without Susato, man.
Oh my gosh.
As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Hurley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold.
No yawning on my stream, not allowed.
Sorry. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as published in Ranced magazine. Ranced. So, Mr. Naruto, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from
Only
Japan.
Ace Attorney could stretch
from
out.
Susie, you mean?
I
Was
have
it
a surprise
really?
this morning into over 5 minutes of
Oh,
that.
And they've already
I know.
revealed that it's a letter.
Yeah, it's literally insane. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun.
Alright.
What do you want for breakfast?
This is the letter that I read from Japan this morning by International Post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she's actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
What? Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do, we helped the man. Twice! You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago? Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could forget those 2 mustaches? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. So, what was this startling news penned by Mrs. Sato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. So yeah, it's the same building at the very least. For the same case. He's totally forgotten then. Or third case. What case was it? Third case. Anyway, in her letter, Mrs. Sato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mrs. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes. That's it, yes.
And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. Then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well.
That's not what I sound like, really. I said that. Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mrs. Sato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
Repatriation.
Yeah, what was that word even?
Repatriation, like to go back to your country?
Patriotism?
Patriotism.
Yes.
Repatriation?
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover.
It's not an unreasonable definition.
It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed.
Oh, shoot. It's okay.
Well, I mean, if the computer's going in there anyways, just pull it out.
I'll just leave it there for now.
Thomas broke my desk.
Yep. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I
Paranoid
believe.
with the drinks on that thing now.
That's right, telling her to return urgently.
You can put the phones in here.
Yes, because her father had passed away. Uh-oh. No, it just said he was
He
suffering
pushed
from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse?
A rooster.
So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home?
Jacques.
Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea, but she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings.
Maybe that's the case her dad invested. Oh, actually.
Yeah. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that, I wonder what Mrs. Sato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
Ah, well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I are quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley, don't worry. See you later.
So they definitely know something about the case.
Allowed to be a detective.
He scuttled off rather quickly there.
You just brought breakfast.
Had it.
Oh.
Yes, yeah.
I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last!
Iris, are they?
The notes about the case? That's right. Susan and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo?
Absolutely, thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
We're reading a book for the second case.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation, and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. We literally just play the second case again, or the third case again.
Oh my gosh.
Makes you redraw.
We gotta relive it in every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world, because I'm unemployed. I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain.
Wait, why is he no longer allowed?
Because he, like, made up stuff, right?
No.
The last case.
Our client did, and we threw our client under the bus.
Oh no, it's because we worked on with, McCavish? What is his name again? It's because we knew that he was, lying.
Who was lying?
What's his face? The rich dude that died in the fire omnibus.
Oh yeah, but that's not us.
No, but like we
and we
knew
didn't
about
willingly
it.
know.
Well, we found out later. I think was the whole point.
Well, we knew that the chick that we were defending, Gina.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, Gina. But we threw her under the bus. We were a good lawyer. We're like, hey, she lied.
But
like,
the whole point is like, I think whole point is we held out and like didn't say it already. I don't know.
That's what a good lawyer does. Well, I'm not gonna freaking. I'm trying to
I
win my
know.
case. Like, what do you mean?
The whole point is our upstanding main character doesn't lie in court, man. Except until he does, and then he's fired.
That makes no
It was
sense.
6
People lie
months
in court
ago,
all the time.
a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san into court. And, after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence.
Is that me?
Mm-hmm.
Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation.
That's a whole word. This is awesome.
Was the man's reaction
16
after the
minutes.
trial.
I'm just commentary. This is great. I'm so down for this.
But his
Oh my.
jubilation was short-lived. Might be like the first game where there's no trial, so you might not have the judge or what's-his-face.
the judge.
Oh no.
Then
Nice.
we received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning.
You did it. You just it is contagious.
The victim of Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a handsome, and headed immediately to the hospital.
We summoned a handsome. We're sorcerers.
It's just a Chad that comes by and just carries
I
you.
summon. Go, handsome. Handsome. Flexing his muscles. Attack.
Oh my.
There you are at last.
Pokemon.
Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. Wait, this is the past now,
rat.
right?
Look at the rat.
Oh man, that thing's huge.
There's a rat.
I think not. Oh yeah, this is
Oh.
the past. You're late! What on earth took you so long?
Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital.
That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. Ah. In point of fact, I myself was awakened at 4 this morning by a telegram boy, and feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been aroused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness.
Well, that's the stabbing victim.
Wait, so
Yeah,
she didn't die?
You knew they didn't die.
I forgot about that.
We never met them in the first case either.
That's true.
You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back.
Her name is... yes, here we are. Miss Green.
Isn't it olive green?
Yeah, Olive.
I think that's literally her name.
That she's wearing olive.
Investigate.
Well, I mean,
Diabetes
I-
type 2.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Good morning. Got it?
I gotta do some voice.
Yeah, you can do
Hello, I'm Irv. Yunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan.
Oh no!
it. Yeah, that's good.
Was it your knife then? Are you the man who...
No, I'm a lawyer.
And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you.
Oh no! Well, was it your knife then? Are you the one?
No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you your best wishes. Our best wishes.
Well, we never figured out who stabbed her. We just proved that he was innocent, right?
Did we never figure out who stabbed her? Because I know it's
I
like
have no idea.
The patrolman didn't stab her, but he just lied about like whose jurisdiction it was and moved the body and everything like that.
Oh, the knife fell out of the window.
Oh,
the lady was throwing a knife at
that's
right.
what's his face. It threw out the window and hit her.
Crescent Moon Man. That's
Oh
right.
my gosh. His wishes for me? Oh, thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is I'm trying to be an artist. That's me, with my game. Well, what I really mean is I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent.
I'm so sad now.
I know.
This is just you, man, eh?
It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back!
I don't think that's related, actually.
Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down.
Interesting saying. Anyway, seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade. Why are we doing this now? The case is over.
I know.
Why is this relevant? I guess it's because the case was hidden. To be suddenly struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right?
Only 4 days has been 4 months.
Oh, it's the past. The case.
Oh, we're reliving this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time.
Yeah, I tried to figure out why
Oh,
this
wait,
Yeah,
wait.
Sasato's here. What
No,
the
this
freak?
is right.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah, wait, no, it's not.
You didn't notice that the
But
first
the
time
case
she
has been
appeared?
solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean.
Indeed it has, my dear madame. And spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case.
Are you
you?
yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. The gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh, I see.
Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me.
Oh, how selfish.
Oh, no! We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are.
No, go back into comatose state. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green.
Uh-huh.
That one's pretty weak for what I've seen from Ace Attorney. They've had better jokes. Oh, what's crack?
Jokes!
Sorry,
They've had better jokes.
Yeah, better jokes.
So you're an artist, are you, Miss
Like
Green?
so-
Like
Scoob.
Oh no! I couldn't possibly claim that! I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, okay, no, that one.
Wait, did you say you're streamed to the game that we're playing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What?
Oh no, actually. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road.
I see.
So
How
we
very
can play right there.
interesting.
Oh no, is it?
Brixton is some 10 stops away from the underground. Honestly, for this voice, I should put this over here.
I know, because it's
Me?
so loud.
Because you're so loud.
Oh, I'm sorry!
And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Center.
Just watching it go red every time I talk.
Yep. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison.
Wow.
Dwelt in by those of inferior means. You're a peasant, I'm saying. Including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means, I suppose Saseki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly climbed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh dear me, do forgive me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh yes, of course.
Get
we
the
want to
heck
keep
out of
you.
here!
Get out of my room!
Thank you so much, Miss Green. And with that, I will bid myself adieu.
Wait, is there more to examine?
I mean, I'm sure we could examine more.
Go back.
We'll examine the rat. Our little rat friend.
Eek, a mouse! Mr. Naruhodo, an enormous mouse.
That thing is enormous. It's bigger than like her foot.
Yeah, I know. I think you'd literally eat her face.
Vermin in hospital. That doesn't seem the best.
But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that it's down to the excellence of this facility,
talking about
if that's what you were thinking.
Can you examine like the paper? Oh yeah.
Ah, this looks like a treatment note for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she is probably running around the hospital then.
Oh dear, how worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. Oops. There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look. Cabinets, look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mr. Sato. There are a lot of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that? Why?
Hehe, if you're a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry, but at least the cabinet has... Why are you going over this again?
Oh, I've no doubt you'd manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits to even what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. I go from breaking the lock to picking it? Okay, no. Please, get me out of here.
Go around like maybe like the...
Oh, it's if I let go, so... Let's see what her treatment is. Ah, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed.
Oh my!
What is this
Nice.
place? A
What
zoo?
the freak?
That was literally what I was thinking.
That's so sad. You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
Yo, this attorney going
Pigeons?
full
Yes.
savage right now.
This is a person! Poor woman, I hope she hasn't read this.
Oh my gosh.
This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe.
Why would they
Used when
give her a
practicing
fat
sketching
artist
human
name?
Maybe it's
form
her
in
mannequin.
different poses. I think she made it.
Really, it's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it?
Oh my gosh. No, I suppose not. I confess
Oh,
I've
it's
never
a
seen
fat
one
figure.
quite so full
It's
figured.
ginormous.
full-
It's the most...
It's full-figured, excuse you. We're trying to be PC here.
No.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the
It's an
job.
overly full-figured person.
Look, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
I think she...
Wow.
Oh my gosh. My, Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Oh, something's happening.
Good thing we stayed here.
Is that Mr. Naruhodo here? Mr. Naruhodo!
Naru fodder now?
Cannon fodder.
Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, good. This is for you.
Sounds like Ivana when she first tried to pronounce Naruhodo.
It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg.
Saucy nuts.
Sounds like these nuts joke. Mr. Oh, it's Mr.
Saucy
Natsume.
Nutsmeg.
Mr. Natsume sent the message to me. I think that translates better in Japanese, probably.
Wait, Natsume's name is
Saucy
wrong
nut.
as Saucy Nut?
Because it's Soseki Natsume.
Oh my god.
Soseki. But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume?
Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? He says, have you not seen this note? No, how could I have? It would seem that London's
so
criminals
annoying.
have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls a case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Murder!
And this didn't come up in the first game at all?
I
Call
know.
a cab! Time is of the essence!
Is it case in between cases?
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place in Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what?
I'll hail a... Can you say that?
I don't even know how to
Fiacre?
pronounce
Oh,
that.
here.
A fiacre?
Fiacre.
You got it.
Fiacre.
I'll hail a fiacre. Yeah, look it up. What is that?
How do you pronounce it?
A fiacre.
You gonna Google it or Fiacre?
A small four-wheeled carriage for public hire.
Fiacre.
Fiacre.
Whoa! Fiacre.
It was only yesterday
What
that
is it called?
Soseki was
What
in
is
court,
it?
and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence.
A Viagra.
Is it a what?
Sounds like Viagra.
It's just a small
Small
four-wheeled
four-
carriage.
Oh, little... Okay.
And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought.
But wasn't he in Japan just now?
No, wait.
We're going as a flashback.
Well,
I know, but
did he
now
fly back
he's in
after
Japan.
the case?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Oh my
This
God.
literally is a new case.
Yeah.
It's the one dude that was super annoying. Remember? That was on
What
the street?
Earth? What?
Oh my! Remember the guy that was on the street that was like... Or is it not? I don't know. Oh my! The gentleman is deceased! Without question.
He's
He's dead!
There's
I'm
no
dead.
question about it. We don't have to check. Let's bury him. Oh, he's still here.
The locum student, Mr. Naruto Esquire!
Mr. Natsume.
Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle.
I see you in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache.
Ah,
Whoa, whoa,
not the
whoa.
horrible Herlock Sholmes. Shove off. Show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
Yeah, it's not like he was the reason you went to court in the first
Hey,
place.
so he's the reason he got out. He helped out in the case. I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Can I send you to jail again?
Oh, this guy again.
Hey there, already, the busybodies.
Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes.
I think that might have to do with the fries you eat.
I know.
Ha! I deduced, Inspector, that your heart...
Wow!
Your heart
You
is a
are
result
Herlock Sholmes.
of your
stop
excessive
it.
consumption of fried food. This isn't the first time...
Good morning,
that's me.
Inspector.
Good morning, Inspector. I don't know why you're making fun of me, but...
This is a crime scene, don't go touching anything.
Or good morning to you too, Sunshine.
I said that.
His eye twitch. Examine the fork.
Just the fork.
Oh, I say hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene.
Oh, no, I just wanted to look. At all, that's all.
No chance, I know you're kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Nipponese trash.
Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there?
I farted. I'm just kidding.
Alright, it sounds like I better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor.
Curry some favor.
Yeah. Curry some flavor. So, Inspector, what
flavor.
was the victim's name? Who was he? Oh,
No way!
Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor, a bit of a dead loss as it happens, or just dead.
Mr. Shamspear.
He was the landlord of Mr. Geradeb, another lodger, Mr. Natsume who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Geradeb got worried and kicked the door down.
Also, this isn't the same house. It's the same building, but not the same room.
yes.
Right.
Oh, he has nothing to do with it then.
But Mr. Gyarados doesn't have a bad... Doesn't Mr. Gyarados have a bad leg?
Oh yeah, you're right. It was a jittery Japanese hunt. Don't pull the headphones. You're gonna pull down my ear.
It's fine.
It was a jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
Dang, I'm surprised he got the door down. Really? So Seki-san.
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems, even done some time in for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in his house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it.
So what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
The crime scene.
The crime scene?
But Mr.
Well, I'm not
Shamsky-
saying it's because the fellow looks old or anything. Or they're
What the heck did you
suspicious.
just say? I don't.
Well, I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the culprit, cohabitor.
Up, he's racist.
I'm not racist.
You said racist there, didn't you? You said Nipponese, didn't
We
you?
gotta go
Oh
controversial.
dear, Mr. Natsume appears
to be racist
very
again.
You're very racist again.
Mr. Natsume appears to be the target of racism again. It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such a
Odd
Odd
fella.
fella.
odd
doesn't
fella,
he?
doesn't he?
No.
Poor man. How unfortunate.
Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think this fella's been a goner that long. The body's still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. What a terrible thing to have happened.
It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences.
So the victim lived here on the ground floor and your room is just one story up, isn't it?
Story
Story.
with an E in there.
Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose.
That's how they do it in London.
Story.
So did you know the victim? Were you friends? What's the matter with Seki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it?
And then it goes like from literally nothing to. Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger.
He's getting flashbacks to all the racism. Oh,
Did he ever invite me to his room? Never. It's because I'm Japanese, isn't it? On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you never asked now. Oh wait, what?
Aren't you, Mr.
Like,
Mara?
Aren't you? Oh. When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there!
Sherlock Holmes is over there on the wall.
Yep. Wonder if we're supposed to examine him.
What position is that?
He's JoJo posing!
Oh my gosh, literally JoJo
He's on a
posing.
stage.
He's acting.
He's acting.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You need to only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose.
Natural.
That's
Investigating
all, that's
naturally. That's
Mr.
the
Sholmes, have you
title.
made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madame, patience.
JoJo pose to have the case be closed.
We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened.
My goodness.
My goodness, but isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible
Racist conclusions.
The first is that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life.
Ah! Ah!
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow?
Yo, I think he actually killed him.
No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. What?
He probably came over last night. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips.
And that's why he was saying, "You never invited me here. Never, I swear."
Nonsense!
Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions?
No, please. Pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant.
Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course, let us theatrically theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions presented for you, your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. Where's my hat when I need it? What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time?
I have a hat. It's not.
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Sherlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1.
A great deduction.
The game is afoot. Cause of death.
Whoa! Whoa! Now we finally get to see the face. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us that the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates that the use of poison.
Well, and he reacted crazy.
Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. He ate the soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap set so purposefully upon the dish, like the victim's last supper? In fact, yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. He's looking at the camera too.
What the?
It appears that the young man's appetite was his
Breaking the
undoing.
4th wall.
Yeah.
Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast.
He's just like, no.
But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather of the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally I have greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course.
Honestly, leave it at that and we can be done. No one's accused. The man committed suicide. Honestly, I don't want to.
There we go.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No one.
Well, no,
Soseki-san's free.
right here, suicide or murder. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder?
Forget Soseki.
I know, his face.
The audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. The man dine and die alone? This single teacup will suggest the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Will allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock.
That's a
Didn't they
broken
literally
door,
just kick
not even
down
a
the
lock.
door?
Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. How did you get near the body without the inspector doing anything? In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in a tragic solitude.
Suicide.
We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter.
The hereafter. That's a cool way to say afterlife.
I've heard that before.
The hereafter.
No possible perpetrator present. Alright, like Matt said, if it ain't broke.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Alright, Sholmes, you're wrong,
Alright,
but that's
case,
okay.
Case 2 is over. Let's go on to case 3. Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction.
You know, you got the details wrong, but I'm sure you're right. Oh,
There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing.
How extraordinary.
And in truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past.
Oh my.
You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut.
And did it?
As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach. Yes, I believe it did.
Oh my god.
This is the experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. Ow. And it has an unpleasant taste that leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it.
Ow.
I was trying to do his pose, but I
I know.
grabbed my arm.
Oh!
Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did.
There's something that troubles me as well, actually.
Oh, what's that?
It's Mr. Naruhodo. Wait,
Natsume.
Natsume. Ah! I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Nonsense!
Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Gentle correction.
Slight
That's the
push.
title. Title of the stream. Gentle corrections.
Yes, Mr. Sholmes' sharp observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Alright, then let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the key words in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions.
Keywords.
And discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1.
Hold it.
Hold it.
Watch. Bop it.
Eat it. Careful. Okay, we read this. It's fine.
Okay, so what do we do there?
I don't know. I mean, the part that Natsume is questioning was the fork, right? So it's here that we're supposed to question.
Look at the camera. Black and white. It's kind of intimidating.
Honestly, it looks evil.
Look how scary he looks right now.
Terrifying.
Well, you can't deny that.
Natsume's the big bad in the second
Oh my
game.
gosh.
Well, you can't deny that a fork implies that the man was eating something or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks.
And of course, only half a bar of soap is left on the plate. That's half a bar. Yeah, that's a
But
big bar of soap.
Can you imagine a bar of soap that big on a plate? That's like already bigger than a normal bar of soap.
I know, it's like literally this big. So
Literally
like,
a brick.
what? Okay. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man
What if it's
really
just
ate
not
some
soap?
soap.
Not soap. It just looks like soap.
Some material.
Just
that
click on the
proves
soap,
he ate
honestly.
the
I bet
soap.
you it's not even soap. Oh, there it is on the floor, too, but...
Yeah, there you go. It's on the floor. Other piece of soap. Oh my
Oh
god.
I think it's soap. There's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamspeare must have really loved the stuff.
Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look close to the soap. You see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table?
What the? How can that be?
Nani?
I think
Nani desu ka?
that they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart. No duh. Duh. But the fork
it.
reveals the answer.
Yum soap? That's what you're
Yum
gonna change the
soap.
title to? Yum soap.
Yum soap.
Yum.
The whole point
Soap.
is it's yeah, you put a pause here.
Yum.
Soap. Don't worry, I'll change it later. But I mean, considering we're not even
Good
Susato-san.
soap. Or you could say, good soap instead of good soup.
Mmm, good soap. Yeah, that's good. Mmm, good soap.
Wait, how do you spell?
Like
how would you
just
spell?
capital M and then
That's
M.
S.
true.
Mmm. Good soup. Good soap.
Good soap.
Good soap.
There we go.
That was good.
It'd be that the man was about to eat it. Of course, no, I can't.
I click. No. Oh.
I think he was drinking tea with his soap.
For bubbles.
The cup's empty, so there's no way of knowing.
Ah, how about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water, and he was dissolving the soap in it so he could gulp down as much as possible?
Please remember that he may not actually have been the soap lover that he's been made out to be.
Nah, he's definitely a soap lover.
Could it be?
I suppose you'd eat soap with a fork, would you?
I don't think it's a question of which implement you'd use. You shouldn't eat soap, full stop.
But then why? Why does the man have a fork in his hand, and how is he still holding it? Rigor
Oh
mortis,
dear,
I
I
guess.
understand your frustration, Mr. Naruhodo, but please don't take it out on me. The point is, if we decide the man used this fork to eat the soap, we wouldn't be changing Mr. Sholm's deduction. But we really ought to consider some other clues.
We already found it on the floor. What do you want from us?
What do you mean? That has nothing to do with anything.
What's
How's
the
that-
spill? What about the spill?
The other thing of soap on the floor?
What does that have to do with anything?
It shows he didn't eat it.
Exactly.
Oh,
Because it can go together perfectly.
you're right.
Oh my,
that's the
we've been
big-
waiting for you to present it the whole time?
I wasn't even thinking. I was
Freaking
just examining. I was having fun, you know, looking at the
Oh,
scene.
how dare you have fun.
I just wanted to look at the soap some more. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the. Oh, yeah, I'm in the wrong voice.
Oh yeah.
It being the other half of the soap on the table. In
He just-
short, the victim was not eating soap at all.
He's using his Sholm's voice.
But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, only took a single bite.
Oh my.
But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no signs of any food on the table.
What is Sholm's carrying with that the potion
It's
vials?
the vials that they made to detect blood.
An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by a foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plates. Alright, Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then.
Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it?
Ah, welcome, Point Nav.
Hey!
All you missed is that,
Now present the cup. Present the cup. Present.
straight up?
Yeah.
Take that!
Okay.
Full stop. Boom! Boom!
Wow. So with this, we're okay with not saving from now on and just going forward with it, right? Just full send every
it's
time?
So obvious.
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. Oh yeah, Point Nav, all that you missed so far is that we're back in the past, revisiting a case that happened right after the third case of the first game. This
Yep.
guy ate soap and died.
Maybe.
No, he ate soap and died. For
good
sure.
soap.
The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Herlock Sholmes is wrong, as usual, it was the soap. He ate soap. Poisoning from
tea.
the soap.
So now we fix it and prove it to suicide?
And now we prove it's a murder.
Oh no, stop!
Oh no.
Alright, let's keep going.
Why does he freak out when he asks
I
is it
know.
suicide or murder? That's so bad.
I know.
Because he murdered him! Ah, the Western Vensel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our introductions so far.
Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspear was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me
Is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
we must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues.
Alright, this time I present the fork,
There's,
right?
he's
No,
you
no, no.
present the other
Other
cup in
tea.
his hand.
I didn't even notice
Boom.
this the first time.
Oh
I don't think it
my
was.
gosh.
Was it just not there before?
No, it was.
Oops, wrong button.
1,000,000% it was there.
Take that!
What if we have to examine it first, though?
Nope.
I don't know, there's that one flyer we never
That
examined.
was that one time that it was stupid.
Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup just suggests the answer. Man, this guy's rigor mortis is off the charts.
I know.
Yes, there are 2 teacups in this room all along.
Ah!
In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim.
What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, something else.
Unreasonable.
Unreasonable.
To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, we read this part. But in which, no, I haven't. In which case, what more can we deduce about the possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Could be anyone. Indeed,
Maybe
what
it's the
reveals
man
the
shaking.
answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now.
I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon of eating too much soap.
Halcyon.
But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about.
Well, you can try to ignore your feelings.
Halcyon definition. It says denoting a period of time in the past that was idyllically happy and peaceful.
Halcyon. Halcyon.
I didn't read it.
Oh, well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, I suppose not.
Can I
Time to
have
look
that
around
name?
again.
Naruhodo.
Naruhodo. Yeah, the bottle.
Naruhodo.
Empty bottle.
Empty bottle.
It's empty.
Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it?
It makes me think that you're full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time.
Bother, Sato's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle.
Oh, look around. No.
Wait, move around more.
Let me look at the lock at least.
Oh dear, the latch is most definitely broken, isn't it? The door was kicked in by Mr. Natsume, according to what Mr. Garrideb told the inspector.
Who knew this short, thin little legs had so much strength in them?
I'm not sure the length of his legs is in
I probably
any way
kicked it in.
significant here.
Not to go into the... That's his story. Is I got worried, so I kicked in the door. He probably kicked the door to get out.
We'll find out. Perhaps
Yeah.
that says more about the poor state of the door than about Mr. Natsume's strength, actually.
Careful. If he overheard that remark, he'd almost certainly have a lively response.
I don't know. Can this broken lock really tell us anything about who was here?
I guess not. Don't do it. That was a...
Glasses, maybe?
Oh, not the books. No way. Not the glasses.
Can you
Over,
move
I
any
think
more
it's the
that
candle.
way?
I think it's
That's
the
it.
candle.
That's it?
Or that door.
Okay, but why would it be anything? Let's examine them first, I guess. Even Mr. Shamspear didn't need candles, it seems.
We've already established that he didn't eat soap either.
Ah, do you think that perhaps the guest brought this candle here last night?
Even if he or she did it, does it reveal anything about that guest's identity?
Good point. There goes my idea, snuffed out like that candle
I
will
think
be.
it's the glasses. If you sigh so deeply, Mr. Naruhodo, you're in danger of blowing out the flame.
No, those glasses you couldn't examine.
Maybe it's the books. Oh, it's the books because he always got books in his... present it. Just present it. Yep.
Nope. You're a fool.
Really? I thought
Anyone
that was
can have
smart.
books. You will observe that there is a pile of books here. Watch as I have to examine them first, because it's probably gonna have like his name on them or something.
Okay, examine them.
Yet
Just
clearly,
skip it, just
no
skip
one
it.
man could hope to read 3 whole books. It's impossible. In other words, there must have been someone else in this. I must warn you, Mr. Naruhodo, that a sprinkling of phrases such as "yet clearly" and other words will not fool anyone. But I always hear you using those terms of then more fool you. Then more fool you.
Then more fool you.
I want to change it to that.
No.
No.
Good soap.
No. I don't even know what that's a reference to. What is that a reference to?
Just like,
good soup.
good soup.
You never
Good
seen that
soup.
meme?
No.
Good soup. Good soup.
I'll pull it up.
It's used like all the time.
It's used all the time, is it?
It is.
It's pretty popular.
Good soup.
It's from this. That's it.
But like it's
2.5 million
it's
views,
used-
100k likes. It's a meme.
Always examine everything in Ace Attorney. Alright. If you attempt to emulate the ways of great detective, you must first identify the
Great
greatness.
detective. Detective.
Alright, let's examine the books.
The books.
Is-
Let's look at the books. Alright,
Exactly,
skip. Examine.
At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially.
I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read: The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings,
Lecoq.
and A Meal for Gabarau.
Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before.
It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day.
What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Soseki-san had just been to the bookshop and bought them, that's right.
And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim.
Yet Mr. Natsume claims to have never to have been here before. What does this mean, do you think?
Now present them.
I
I
really
swear.
don't know what to make of it.
No, that's it.
Oh.
Always examine. See?
Pile
Oh
of
my!
familiar
books.
I hate this game. Fine.
I mean, to be fair, this one was way more obvious. There was like colored objects when the other room was like full of all this random stuff you had to examine.
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so, there is no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth.
I'm gonna get a.
Okay.
Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a secondhand bookshop. Shall we wait?
Oh
No, you just
Wait,
go.
skip it.
It's just us.
Alright, we'll go loud.
That's just a coincidence.
In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not?
Ooh.
This very moment.
No, never, non-negotiable.
If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. His poses. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could have only brought these 3 books here to the victim's room.
It is like poses that it's doing.
What the freak? What the freak?
What the heck was that?
Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey.
Babe.
What?
It's not meant to put your leg in it.
I literally had my legs on it the whole time.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Alright, well.
In short, there's only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction.
Murder. Oh my.
Oh my. But
There's
it
a-
doesn't
there's a
conclude
scene.
anything.
That's why it was possible perpetrator. Elementary, my dear Watson.
Not again, not again, not again! Not again!
Well then, Mr. Natsume, it would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again.
But wait! Hold your horses!
Yes?
Door, key, locked, entry, exit entirely impossible.
He's so flustered, he's being even stranger than normal.
What, you think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy.
What?
You live in the same building after all. You'd had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure.
But misery me.
Sorry, sir, you'll get a chance to give your side of the story later.
The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache.
Oh my, literally a second case.
Oh, you horrible Herlock Sholmes!
He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he?
Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting.
Oh, concern Mr. Naruto Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in the position again, but you have to help me, please, please, I'm innocent.
Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
And one more thing.
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me.
The only voice acted character in the whole series.
And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Toseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in the case of a murder. Well, back to back, eh? Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. He's not wrong. We left it alone. It would have been a suicide. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now.
Yes, that's right. And of course,
What?
have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garrideb, who discovered Mr. Shamspeare.
Ah, Mr. John Garrideb, yes. I expect we could find him...
Oh, I expect we can find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. That's the moon face dude,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then.
Examine, no? They say we should examine it first?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Now we can examine it more.
Please believe.
Oh, the poor man, so young to die. Suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was?
I don't know. All we can do now is hope, and he'll be reborn to a better life.
What the reincarnation?
Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
Sorry? Oh, I never pressed that.
My Bible. Just kidding. I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. What?
I have to do it differently if you're in Britain, of course.
I'll just reread it now. One moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there?
Oh, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamspeare and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruto. There's bitter poison inside.
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty.
That's true. So one was Mr. Shamspeare's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. They switched the cups. Shamspeare was trying to poison
That's what I
Natsume
thought.
and then killed himself.
Oh my goodness.
What's
That's probably what happened.
Oh, what's this?
It looks like a part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened.
Who opens their letter that way? Is that significant?
I do.
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter or the rest of the envelope, in fact. Is there?
Ah, she's right.
And yet, here we have the torn off end of an envelope. This strikes me as unusual.
I agree, we'd better take this, just in case.
Do you look around more or no?
I mean, there's all this stuff to examine.
True.
Look at all these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim shady going-ons.
This one looks like a king's attire.
A king? I've always dreamt of being king.
Oh, I think you'd be more suited for feudal lord. Daimyo or such like.
With a
Ton Mage.
Chanmage top knot?
Ton Mage.
Every Japanese man wishes he had a Chan Mage.
Look it up.
Oh,
I think it's Chanmage.
Ton Mage. Chon Mage. Oh my gosh, the Chon Mage thing is a dude that what's his face
Yeah.
has. The
was
ouchie.
Ah, yes. Every Japanese man wishes he had that, man. Everyone wants to look like Ouchie. What are you looking up?
Chonmage.
It is Chonmage.
Chonmage.
On mage.
Okay.
What the heck? Oh, you look wonderful in one, and you already have the sword.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Chonmage and a sword? I can't.
There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and a bottle. And both of them are cracked.
Yes, not much use, are they? What's the matter?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all.
Prosecutor Lord Van Zeeks?
Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses, I was thinking it's a waste, and he should donate some to the needy.
You can suggest it next time we meet.
As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property, it's extraordinary.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh!
What is it, Mrs. Sato?
Oh, sorry. If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose.
Ah, that's how he got outside.
Oh, what the heck?
Well, actually, it can't fit though.
More soap?
Yeah. Oh yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out of a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room.
Oh, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo.
So,
On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it.
What? Outside?
Does you sell soap? So click on it again, maybe? Yeah. It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap.
It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are these snow-covered lumps?
It's more bars of soap.
Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on the ledge outside the window?
I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all.
Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap.
Ah,
You see in the middle there? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but
some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain.
it looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? Oh, wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive. And what's it doing in this ramshackle old room?
It's weird.
It's the poison. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. It looks like a meter of some kind.
Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins.
Ah, I see. Yes, now that you pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here?
That's right, that would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating.
So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold?
Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change, because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office.
looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh?
I think it's Gregson, yeah, I was about to say.
So yeah, we can snoop around, eh?
Inspector Gregson, but back so soon?
After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went and reported this to Investigation Division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard.
Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in a cell again so soon.
I'm sure we
What the heck?
What the?
He was acting!
We should probably go, and I knew it. That's what happens when you pronounce someone dead.
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
I knew they would do a whole new case.
Ah!
I guess I didn't know.
He was acting.
No, he ate soap, I'm pretty sure. But soap doesn't usually kill. Well, maybe back in the
You
day.
don't do
might
him?
have. Oh, who was?
Out! No, how is this?
Out, brief
No.
candle. So I'm like,
Just do whatever you want.
Out, brief candle.
yeah, that's good.
Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player
Good.
that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part?
It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and
I can't even do his voice now.
full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Okay, wait. Did nobody
Hey,
check his
oh,
pulse?
happy
No one
day.
did.
Oh my gosh.
What the?
Wait, what?
What? Walking Dead.
What? I'm so confused.
The fella isn't dead at all.
What was that nonsense he was saying though?
It's because she was doing her prayer, it brought him back from the dead. I'm just kidding. I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's
Oh, so
Macbeth.
Shakespeare exists in this universe too.
That's funny. A soliloquy, from
Soliloquy?
Act 5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare.
What is a soliloquy? Like just like a section of it? So it
Excerpt.
was... I don't know.
That the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to the nearest nearby hospital for treatment. Emergency carriage. And Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that was now. Well, that now was.
Nice.
Suspicious man sighted.
Looking in through the window of the
No,
where the
it's
bars
just,
of soap are.
It's just what's his face trying to
Whatever you
scout out
think
his
will
next
happen
steal.
now.
Next scoop?
What is the freak dude?
Brighton mini memo?
No,
Ooh,
I'm talking the
Good
dude
question.
from the who steals stuff, and he always announces what he steals before he steals it.
Lupin?
Yeah, that's Lupin.
What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume, arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamsphere did consume poison as we directed. News or whatever. But was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this?
Yeah, looking into the bars of soap. Something.
What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. Oh, he's probably trying to look at this Soseki-san's place, but get the wrong apartment, maybe. I don't know.
I was trying to get the soap.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
It's a different apartment, though.
No, you have the soap outside the window.
That's fair. Excuse me, could we have a word?
What?
What the freak?
He just peace out like that one little black kid on the vine.
just
who
ran
does
off.
a peace sign and disappears.
What was with his face, too? That was freaky.
Nah.
I feel sure that I've
It's
seen
like a
that man
bobblehead.
somewhere before. What was it?
I do too, but I don't remember. Where is this guy
There's
from?
no way they'd create 2 new models and not have a trial. So, I take it back. I think they're doing a trial.
I mean, the girl was a new model, and the sailors were all new models, and they didn't have a trial.
But they literally made a girl, a dude, and then another suspicious dude. You think they're not gonna have them be in a trial?
They made back on the ship. The second
Examine
case,
the-
they made.
examine-
Like, they're
thing.
so lazy in this game that they just reuse people. And you're telling me that when they make 3 new models, like, oh yeah, we're not gonna use them in a trial.
I'm just saying.
They're so lazy in this game. No.
In the second case, they didn't make a trial, and they made 2 new sailors, and then the princess or whatever face
Okay,
was.
but it still was kind of a trial. We still had to, like, figure it out.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're gonna have to figure out something in this game too. In this case too.
Alright.
With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Scaredeb live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old wind attack. Oh my
Oh my
gosh, every
gosh.
time. Blah 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 blah.
Yep. No windows. We get
It
it.
appeared that it's something. Especially for people who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room.
I suppose it's the price you pay for living in very cheap
They've had this
accommodations.
conversation so many times.
I know.
It all seems rather pointless when you put it
said
like that.
You said it.
It's like they found out that one fact about ancient Britain, and they're like, we got it.
But why? It's not examining the actual green thing?
We have to examine here? No, it's not. Do we even have to examine anything here?
What about the bike?
I mean, I can't. I'm just wondering. Do I have to
Snowman.
examine it? Fine. Why has somebody built the snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think?
Snowman.
That's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. That's part of the snowman's body.
Really? But it already has a perfectly good body.
Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner.
And now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man, I know how he feels.
If anything, it's Japanese and British two-ball snowmen that are the strange ones, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections: head, torso, and legs.
Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much? Alright, I think we just leave. Oops. I think we just leave.
Wait, do the bike. Do
Okay,
the bike
fine,
first.
we'll examine the bike.
I mean, they put that there for a reason.
I mean, they put this door there for a reason too. Oh, let's look, cracked windows.
There
Anyway,
always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garrett residence. I read the bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact.
that one seems very warped though, especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think?
No, I'm afraid that...
Let's point out your hands, but it's over mine.
No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly afflicted.
Then there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on this bicycle, I think.
Oh dear, I fear you may be right.
Alright, let's just get out of here.
The door? We didn't examine the door with the holes in it?
Fine. The Garrett household and Mr. Natsume's lodgings are in a prominent position there on the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help feeling that it's a bit of a slant.
It does rather look as though it would collapse in even the smallest earthquake, doesn't it?
And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san has a hunched back. Such a hunched back.
Okay, point this.
Yeah, great.
You can't go anywhere else.
There's so many places we can go to.
Oh, I mean examine.
Garradeb's room.
Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Garradeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget.
I mean, you don't have to do all the new voices, but like,
I think I did his voice originally.
you
didn't
did do it originally, and then I took over when he was like
Okay,
the
you
juror.
take it, you do it.
I mean, it's fine.
Ah, you chaps, eh?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday.
It was quite a trial. As much as Mr. Garrett as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to a more bally nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garradeb.
Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they?
What did he say? Dead something?
Dead loss of it. First.
It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened.
Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas.
This is definitely not the voice I gave from last time, but it's fine.
So I went down and knocked on his door, but no valley answer. What do you think, Greg? I don't know, Skunk.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning.
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry on all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, William Shakespeare took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, which game is it? It's the second one. It's the
Did you
second
finish this?
part, Colton.
We're just, you know, back at this place.
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent.
Is this a sequel? No, we're actually just playing the first game all over again.
We're actually in the past right now, so This is taking place in between case 3 and 4 from the first game.
Yes. Anyone waiting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a belly screw loose. So hard to choose which category Soseki-san will fall into, but not both.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
He was doing research as well. Better fix your mistakes.
He only saves Gumbo once.
Research into what?
Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know, Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Oh my.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
Yep. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Oh, of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have had much in common.
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo, really, how rude.
Stop reading my mind. Whoops.
No, not this again.
Well, here we go again. Alright. Here we go. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor check was out at the time.
Mr. Garrett noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose.
Couldn't summon the energy from anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Mr. Sato?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange. That's all. Mr. Garrett, you were up here in the room all evening, if I've understood correctly.
Not a big fan upstairs, not with this blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the floor, on the ground floor, I mean.
Oh!
That's a very good point. Oh shoot, my favorite gaming duo. There's... Wow, you're really including me? I knew it! I knew it! Not including me! I saw it coming!
There we go, let's go.
I knew it. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants, why would I?
Then how did you know, Mr. Garrett?
It's the gas woman! The gas tells me everything!
The gas? Gas, gas, gas.
Maybe he gets the money for the gas.
I mean...
What is that hot tub stream? You doing a hot tub stream?
So, yeah, that's a good question. 1 million subscriber special. Sundown and Nirvana Gaming should make a new channel. He has a channel, what do you mean? It's just so dead you would never know. I'll let 50 speak in that accent for the entire hour of
That was a
streaming.
backhanded remark.
I kept it the only one getting roasted here by my viewers.
Oh my.
What on earth do you mean, sir? $50 you speak in that accent the entire hour of streaming? I'm voice acting that character. Of course I'm gonna speak the entire time. I'm not gonna voice act for everyone with that voice. Sundown has his own channel, but Ivana's not included.
Ivana
there.
has her
But
own
she-
YouTube channel.
Oh, see? They just need a collab! The duo don't even know. There's a guaranteed $20 for the hot tub stream. Was it the hot tub stream? Yeah, I think it was actually.
What they
Sundown
want.
plus Ivana Gaming Hell. Give the people what they want.
We'll play the first Ace Attorney game. That'd be fun.
And
Again?
no,
There's the
original,
no, there's the
Ace
original
Attorney.
Oh.
How can
Thomas
the gas
Bottom.
tell you everything, let alone... can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Oh wait, that's me.
200 for
$1
1 hour?
of the
Do
hot
it,
tub.
Thomas.
No.
Do it.
Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
That's the OnlyFans level and you don't even need to do anything. I need to get in a hot tub. And
Get
I
in the
probably,
hot tub with
I
your
probably need
clothes
to
on.
spend that much to get
Yeah,
in
with
the
your
hot tub.
clothes on.
Just like go in the hot tub fully clothed.
You can bring your friends too, that'll make it easier.
Or we're
Yes, I more or less worked that out.
what are they called? The
Wetsuits.
a wetsuit in a hot tub and see how long you can last. Just kidding.
Wondering how long I can last. It's not hard to sit in a hot tub,
No,
honestly.
but with a wetsuit,
What's the difference?
it keeps all your heat in.
Oh. I mean, let's go over to Critch's lol. Alright, anyway.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside, and the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter.
You point at it.
I do.
Exactly,
Seriously,
but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
You're gonna do it again?
What?
I'm
They
just doing
dim?
this.
I know.
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Mightn't it?
Might?
Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a
Mightn't
single
it?
supply pipe.
Is that supposed to happen though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. But wait, that's only if they turned off the gas. What if he just doesn't turn on the gas? Because there's the candle in his room too.
True.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, of course, because when people come back at home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night.
Because he's poor. He's never
Yeah.
so he can't get gas.
Exactly. What they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Clever.
Clever girl.
In point of fact, the room on the ground and the one above uses slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, well, nothing to it, really. I'm just crippled and have to sit around all day.
Staring at the lights.
Whoa, that came out of nowhere.
And
I'm
can't-
rude for calling the other chick fat.
And I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadib is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Natsume again.
A good idea.
Alright, to the prison.
Old people and fat people are shaving in
Absolutely.
2022. Wait, no, that's report plus cancel. No, you have to think about it. This is back in probably the 1900s.
Can't get canceled. We're allowed to call people fat in the 1900s.
TOS. That's a different
No
thing.
way is calling someone fat terms of service.
Yeah, TOS is a bit different, man. Come on. Get it together.
Look, Mr.
Although
Natsume,
making fun of cripples probably is.
Mr.
Get him out of
Natsume,
here, actually.
Have the police finished questioning you now? Welcome, student Mr. Naruto Esquire.
Oh, yes?
What does he tell me? Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes?
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed. I'm cursed, I tell
It's
you.
in the past, Colton.
This guy again, also in prison again?
Yeah, he's
Alright,
in
so let
prison
me
again.
explain what's happened thus far. The whole one is, this second case we get sent back to the past of the right after the third case happened. Thomas dressed like that guy and that's $5. Oh my gosh. That outfit costs more than $5. Or like the girl get 10.
That'd be fun to dress up one stream.
That'd be fun. But also
That
these
would be
outfits
cool.
definitely cost
I'll dress up
money.
as Man Zeeks.
These
Whoa.
outfits definitely cost some money.
I can probably get some like that on like Amazon.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, but
Can you
it's
do her
still
hair
gonna be
like that?
It's still gonna be like
You can just go full Sholmes.
It'd still be like $80 for Sholmes, I bet.
That's worth it.
You gotta salute somewhere, go to the DI. No, that's so much more effort. I don't want to make my own cosplay.
Oh, Thomas. It's for the
I just do
content.
my hair like
It's
her.
for your channel.
Of the two
Well, that's
things
sort of
down.
her.
I'd rather have a dead channel than
I
a
have
low
the
effort
two.
channel.
Yeah. Well,
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruto. You were heavily involved in the deduction too.
Yes, I'm moving on. We have some wonderful news.
Oh?
You gotta do it to increase the channel, bruh.
He's not dead, so you're not a murderer. The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again.
Gotta satisfy the chat. No, this channel's to satisfy me.
He's like, yeah, I knew he was
Chat.
alive. I'm gonna kill him.
Now-
Chat that one day, what the freak?
Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume?
It's terrible! Oh! I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions!
I'm sorry to hear that. But why the mustache?
Ah, that selfish shister.
Then it's shyster, I don't know.
Shyster. Make up your mind, are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wiggly, wishy-washy William.
What about a vegetable rating stream? Oh my gosh, so much demand. I have so many games I need to play already. Trying all vegetables straight.
Do it, Thomas.
Well,
I'd do it with you.
Fun fact, Gyarados is the surname of the Sherlock Holmes series. Surname? From the Sherlock Holmes series. It just so happens that it works as a pun in Japanese. Gari Gari means skinny and Debu means fat, hence the character designs. Gari
Skinny
Debu.
fat?
Skinny fat.
Skinny fats? Like that one place? Fine, you can do veggies after you do food you like boba. I'm a gaming
You like
channel.
boba?
I mean, not the boba itself, but I drink the drink. Okay, first of all,
I'm gonna defend it. If you like boba, you like boba.
no, I don't like the toppings.
Oh.
Like, I like the drink, but not the toppings. But this is a gaming channel. I don't do food ratings. What is this? That could be a special for subscribers. Get me to 100 subscribers, we can do a vegetable stream. Anyway, back to the game. Well, it seems like Mr. Shamsphere was never actually dead in the first place.
Oh yes, that might make sense, and I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh? Oops.
Lol, I'm deaf bothering the game. No, it's all part of the content, don't worry. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamsphere, didn't you?
I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present.
Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story.
Oh, why am I cursed like this? Move, just leave.
I demand to have a lawyer present.
I know. What do you think I am?
Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume?
There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruto, Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday.
The case that poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back.
Hospitalized.
Wait, how do you actually pronounce the word?
Hospitalized.
It's fine.
Hospitalized.
There's like hospitality.
Well, really, it's quite simple.
It's hard to believe that that was only yesterday. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lonely lodging. And that evening at past 9, must have been, I visited Mr. Shamsphere.
Humor education is needed. I can't educate you guys. I don't know anything. So did
coding.
you go?
Programming.
So did you go to the victim's room then? I don't even know that. Imposter syndrome.
As we feared, I didn't do anything wrong. I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time.
Then what made you decide to go?
I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell.
That ties in what Mr. Gyarados said, that the victim went out and came back after 8.
We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I'd brewed as a gift.
So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been poisoned at the scene then.
And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare.
And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamsphere tea.
No, never. Not at all. Team Juliet won. That was me, and when I left his room...
Romeo, Juliet, who was the stronger, Brad?
Wait. Just like how Juliet had taken a poison just to fake death for a little bit. Maybe he had just done the same thing. The flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it, categorically. That's literally what had happened. He just took poison for a second to kill himself. For just a second.
Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I've learned that it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me, they all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room, which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap, because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
Previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one can explain why.
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning.
Would you guys live in a place that, like, a murder previously occurred?
Yeah.
If it was cheaper?
Yeah.
I would try to avoid it, but if there's the only thing that I could, like, afford,
I would do it and I
Like-
wouldn't tell anyone. Like, I would do it and I wouldn't tell anyone.
Well, I think it's more like on your
Oh,
own
God.
conscience. Like, you just think about, oh man, there was a person that
No.
died here.
So there's a person that probably died underneath us right now. Do you know how freaking long the Earth's been around?
Oh.
There's a dead person underneath
But
me,
I'm saying
guaranteed.
murdered, like, exactly, like, they were murdered in this room. Blood splattered all over, but they
Yeah, they
painted
painted
it and cleaned
over
it
it.
up.
Is
They
it the
cleaned
same
it and
room
painted
though?
over
They
it.
Same
clean
room.
it? No, but I mean, it's the whole argument of like, is the ship the same
fair.
ship if you repair it?
No, it's fair.
They paint over it and they clean they replace the carpets. Or that's the same
it
room he
still
died
happened.
Honestly, I would live here.
It's
I would
the
live in a
same
room.
dust.
I would live in a place where a murder occurred. If it was
What?
that much cheap. If it was considerably cheaper, then yeah.
in. Yeah, hold on. If it was only like $50, no. But if we're like $200, $300, okay.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if it was like a really nice place for like half the price of what it usually would be just because someone was murdered there, I think I
Bet.
maybe would.
No, I totally would. What? I don't believe it's gonna come freaking haunt
I mean,
me.
I guess
It's
I
just-
would. I don't know. I mean, I believe
Hold
in
on.
ghosts.
But if they didn't know why, that's the other question.
Yeah, they don't know
He
why
murdered,
they
They
died.
and
never
there's
solved the
no
murder.
explanation. And then
There's
like,
just a
do you
dead
want the
person,
house?
a young
I'd be
person.
like, shiz. I don't know if I'd say
Yeah,
yes.
that'd be
to that.
Honestly,
hard.
That's
I don't
weird,
think I'd
yeah.
take it at that point.
No, yeah. If
But
they
if there's
didn't
like
know.
there's like a secret entrance that I don't know about that the murderer just slips into the house.
Yeah. The murder room of Theseus?
Theseus,
Theseus?
that guy from Hades.
Theseus. Isn't he the dude who
Who's
fights the
Theseus?
Minotaur?
Oh,
And he comes back on his boat and he raises the flag and his father kills himself. He raises the wrong flag or something.
that Theseus? I honestly don't know.
I have no
don't know.
idea.
Either. He's gonna tell us in a
Wait,
second.
you guys believe in ghosts? No,
I
don't.
do.
I do.
I don't.
I believe in spirits.
I mean,
When you die, what happens? You have a spirit.
is that what is considered? I feel like spirits more like roaming the earth ghost.
Oh. I said is a different. I think there are. I mean, Satan and his demons. It's in the Bible. Like, there's demons.
that a
They
ghost,
inhabit
though?
things. Jesus banishes them into like a flock
Yeah.
of pigs. Those are literally.
Like, that's.
that
I
a
mean,
ghost?
maybe
That's
it's
a
not a
real
ghost, but
thing.
it's spirits that are on the earth. And what are spirits on the earth?
spirits.
Ghosts.
They call them
Like,
ghosts.
sure, if you don't like the term ghosts, I don't care. But they're spirits.
Bro,
Yeah.
you were referencing
And
the
some
ship
people-
of Theseus. Well, you got it.
Yeah.
Boom! I'm so good.
Apparently, the murder room of Theseus might be actually a thing.
Anyways, Thomas, so I think you do believe that.
I guess. I don't
No,
know.
not you guess. Do you believe the Bible?
It's
Yes, okay.
It's how you categorize ghosts, right?
Ghost is a spirit
Someone
of someone who died.
Yeah. Lived and
Okay,
died.
so I guess it's different because it's a demon who never lived.
I mean, like,
I guess you're right, it's
Ghost in
different.
my
But
mind is
either way,
like,
that
in
can
my
go
mind, a
different.
ghost is a person who
Right.
died and has lingering like regrets, and that's why they're stuck on the earth.
Yeah, so ghost is the wrong word then.
That could be one reason why.
That's it. It depends.
But I don't
on,
think that's the definition
it
of a ghost.
depends on the definition of
Yeah.
ghost that you use.
Okay, well, there's definitely spirits
what? I was
that
making a joke. Okay.
have influence in the world for sure.
Okay, well, we're
Yeah.
not getting into a theological discussion here.
It's not a theological. I'm just
That
saying
is
we
the
all believe that
theological
here.
discussion.
But all three of us believe that here, so
Yeah.
it's not like.
Whatever.
There's no separate arguments.
But I'm not sure. I'm not here to debate the definition of a ghost.
Okay.
We're talking about a room after replacing it. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? Horrible history. How did the room's horrible history affect you,
Curious what the
Mr.
definition of a
Natsume?
ghost is.
What happened? At
Not
first,
to argue it.
it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
Do you think that it might have just been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else.
I never learned magic.
It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place.
Okay, we won't talk about it anymore, but what was the definition of a ghost
Oh,
that
it
you
was,
looked up?
it was of someone who had died. It was an apparition of a dead person, which is believed to appear or become manifest to the living, typically as a nebulous image.
So it's basically a person that's died that appears
That
to
is
someone
correct.
alive.
So, what are we?
We're done, we're
Jesus
done,
was a
we're done,
ghost?
we're
Is
done.
that what's going on
We're
here?
done, we're done, as I said. We just talked about the definition and we're done.
Okay. Alright, we're done.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
Thomas doesn't want that kind of content.
All the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me.
Jesus, ghost lol. No, that's kind of contents for Tilt Pod. That's a podcast content.
No, I'm just saying it's the apparition of someone who died. You know, Jesus appeared to people, an apparition.
Well,
I know he wasn't because he appeared in the flesh, but it's whatever. It was a joke.
that
Obviously.
really is horrible. That joke.
How's that a horrible joke?
No, it's just
And
that what
now
Sully
I
said.
come to
Oh.
think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspeare
Whoops.
was writhing in agony from the poison in his body, I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right, I know it, and that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Susato-san knows how to make the man listen.
Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well.
You mean Mr. Garrideb?
Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Okay, so what if there were solved murders, but then multiple murders happened in the same house?
I'll solve. I don't care.
Okay.
It's just an unsolved one trips me out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Does that change it for you?
I don't think so, but like, I don't know. It depends on how many murders happened there, honestly.
I don't know.
If the past
It's like
5
it's
people...
cursed.
If the past
Yeah,
5
then you might be like,
tenants-
this is a bad area.
If
Yeah.
the past 5, yeah, it's true. It's just a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamp and his tenants' movements.
You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
If someone got murdered, period, it's probably not a good place, yo. But
Well,
what if
it depends on what the murder. Like, oh, this dude cheated on his wife and his wife stabbed him. Murder. It's like that's not a bad neighborhood. That's just like it's stupid.
Bad relationship.
That's a bad relationship. So if that's the case, I don't care. But yeah, if it's like,
dear,
oh, this
no.
dude like got shot through his window, like 8 times. I'd be like, okay, there's something going on.
Circumstances
Yeah.
matter.
Her profile looks so weird. Compared to like what she looks like.
Like that.
Oh dear.
I fair. There we go. There we go.
No.
See this duo channel. Oh my gosh.
Oh my. It's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What if every tenant of a room died unnaturally, but it was always outside the house and none of the incidents were related?
Hold on.
So every tenant of a room died unnaturally.
Unnaturally.
So not a murder, they just died unnaturally. But it was always outside of the house. So like, they got in a car crash, one of them has a heart attack,
Okay.
one of them does this.
So
and they're
basically, it's like
all...
the room seems cursed, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like nothing to do with it. I'd live there. I don't believe in there being like cursed and it's like.
Yeah, it would have to be some really cheap rent.
What if they all died in the same way? Like heart attack. I'd be okay, maybe there's like
Death
something
note.
in the water, like
Room death notes.
Oh
that's
my
actually
gosh.
interesting. I don't know if I would.
Oh man, I think this child's gonna die unnaturally. Honestly, it depends on how many people died there. I'd say
4.
Ooh, honestly, I'd say 3. I'm already
2?
thinking about it.
Yeah, 2 is like that's weird.
That's weird.
3 is like
it.
okay. 4 is I think is too much.
Yeah. Honestly, after 3, I think I'm out.
Yeah, no.
What's important is that Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he comes around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. 2, that's really weird, yo. I mean, yeah, but like, it could be coincidence.
Yeah, 2 is just like you could still chalk that up to like what a weird coincidence in this world. But 3 is like that's no.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Excuse me.
No, wrong voice. I had to guess it was the wrong voice.
He was just practicing his lady
like,
voice.
sorry.
Somebody was caught in my throat. Inspector Gregson. I didn't realize that was you.
It's that
I
heartburn.
couldn't help obeying what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Which do you want first?
Always, every time, the bad news comes first.
I agree.
And hope is all you have. Hold on to it. That's my guiding principle.
Right, well in that case, the good news is, it is.
Oh.
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Savage.
Then why did you ask me my preference?
Also my thoughts.
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's come round now.
Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying
The way he got
glory.
up all slow.
I know. Pig first dropped the fork and then
He's still been treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness it's all over then. I can leave this somber cell.
Alright, see ya, Rob.
Bye, Rob. Awaiting a hot tub stream.
Sorry, no, it's not on the cards.
What? Why ever not, Inspector?
Mr. Shamspear's implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone.
Oh dear. You don't mean...
I'm sorry to say I do, yes, he's pointed a finger at you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, sorry.
By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wickedest caitiff, so Seki Natsume.
Caitiff. No.
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned.
What was it?
Caitiff. Like plaintiff, but D-A-T. If.
A contemptible or cowardly person.
You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations.
There literally was a whole case we just skipped over in the first game, I guess.
Yeah, no, literally.
No!
With an H. And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him.
Wow, whole new case. Look at that, Thomas.
Yeah.
Look at that, Thomas. I knew there was going to be a case.
I'm just saying that
Too many new characters.
I'm not saying that they wouldn't.
To be continued.
I'm just saying that there was a chance that it didn't.
You're right.
Be a new
There
case.
was a chance. It could have been like this.
Because it's happened. Because there was also the second case again, too.
You're right. You're right. Oh man, yeah, these hurt my ears. That's why I don't like them.
Really?
Yeah, they're so hard. The other ones are soft.
The other ones like fall out of my ear though because like the plushy rubber
We need a
part
three-way
is
splitter.
like too big.
You can provide your own splitter at that point.
Savage. Do you think they have those?
What?
A three-way splitter?
Yeah, probably.
Fine.
Alright. Are we ending stream?
All you have to do is
We're
get
ending
another.
stream.
All you have to do is get another two-way splitter, and then
Yeah,
you
it's
have
true.
4.
Oh, no, you have 3.
Oh, 3. Yeah, you're right.
Alright, anyway.
9:30 at night.
Let's go ahead and call it. thank you all for watching. That has been an Ace Attorney stream. Hopefully we'll get back to these weekly or something about that schedule.
Yes.
Do not know when to expect the next one, but hopefully next week at the very least. So hopefully I'll catch you on the next stream. Until